What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to No Filter Sports with your boy, Jason. One announcement before I get started here is going to be about the future of this channel and what you should be expecting to see on it. It's going to be a Chelsea Football Club specific channel, driven channel. Over thinking about it over the past few weeks since my last video, I do want to focus on that more because it's what I'm most invested in terms of sports. I'm going to be talking about other sports topics every once in a while. Whatever is like a major topic that we need to discuss, I will be doing that. But majority of my content will be specifically about Chelsea Football Club and previews, reviews, news that is coming into the club or players that we're looking to sign. So if you like these kind of videos, you like talking about sports, soccer, football, basketball, whatever, drop a like, subscribe, get in the comment section, please. It'll be great to engage with you all and turn on the bell notifications, whether you want them personalized or whether you want to get all my uploads. It will be really great. It helps my channel grow and it helps my voice get out there more. So, with that being said, let's get into this insane topic that I have to talk about. So, after the 2-0 win against Everton away, Enzo Maresca had some pretty surprising comments after the game. Now, th- the players looked like they were relieved, the fans were relieved as well, but you have your manager walking into a press conference. Sorry, I have a little indigestion. Walking into a press conference after a win, speaking about how it's been the worst 48 hours that he has had since he has joined the club from Leicester back in 2024. And given the bad form we had a little bit last season into this season, um, and just the inconsistencies we've had, it's very surprising that he has said that after a win rather than after a defeat where you expect stuff like that to really get amplified. He said it after a win, and he wasn't going into too much detail on why he said it or who he was talking about, but he made one thing clear. It was this isn't about the fan base, this isn't about the players or anything else. It seems like it's an internal issue at the club where an obvious there's obvious tension between manager and owners. And why this matters, man. It's like to understand the weight of what is going on here. Chelsea right now are the youngest team in the Premier League, right? Inconsistent results. Fans are split between patience and frustration. Like they want to be patient with this team because they understand how young they are, but the frustration of them being so young and not being able to kill games off and having that required experience to get the shit over the line, to get the 3 points. Yeah, there's going to be some type of tension between the fans and the manager and the players, but when you lose games, all the noise is going to be out there. It's going to explode. It's going to be amplified to the highest order. But when you win games, you're able to get the breathing room you need. You're able to focus on like the next game and not dwell on what actually happened in the current game that you had just finished. You're able to actually answer questions a little bit more effectively is what I've noticed from managers is if they win, they're more vocal, they're more willing to talk, but when they lose, it's always a cold response. So for me, Enzo Maresca should not be fighting for his job. He's saying he's fed up because I just don't feel like he's getting the backing and the support from the owners. And for the owners to continuously sit here and I guess in a way gaslight him, saying like you need to work with what you have. Like we've already spent over £1 billion bringing in these players, but it's like you're bringing in different players for different managers who had different ideas. Enzo Maresca, in my opinion, really hasn't had a say in any of the players that he has brought in because a lot of these players are young, youthful, not a lot of experience being brought into a team that is supposed to be challenging for the major honors, consistently challenging for the top four, consistently trying to win the Premier League or the Champions League, whatever, and that should consistently be in the Champions League. because this season I'm expecting nothing less than a top 4 finish. But when you take a look at the game that just happened over the weekend against Everton, Chelsea were controlled, they were structured in their buildup, and they were compact out of possession. They weren't allowing too much to Everton for them to break stuff down, but Everton had their chances in the game where they could have got back into the game, really made it a more nerve-wracking finish for us, but that didn't happen. And the issues that I feel like the owners are having with Enzo Maresca is the discipline on the field. Chelsea lead the league, I think, in the most red cards this season. Whether it's in the Champions League, the League Cup, or the Premier League, I think they're leading Europe right now, which tells me that he doesn't have the complete discipline of these players, and a lot of these players still aren't mature enough to understand that you just can't do reckless shit, say reckless shit on the field and then expect not to get booked. Do a reckless challenge like Caicedo did against Arsenal and you're going to be sent off. It's stuff like that where I believe the owners are getting fed up with the lack of discipline that Enzo Maresca is having on this team. The talent is there, the drive from these players is there, but when the games are nitty gritty, when the games are very close, is when I start to see this team have a lack of discipline, which I'm not used to seeing a Chelsea team have because when I think of discipline within Chelsea, I'm thinking Frank Lampard, I'm thinking Michael Ballack, I'm thinking John Terry, I'm thinking Michael Essien, I'm thinking Drogba. You know, I'm thinking of players like that. I'm thinking Petr Cech. I'm thinking of players like that that had discipline, that knew when to be emotional and when not to be emotional, when to put in that strong challenge and when not to put in that strong challenge. It's stuff like that that I think Enzo Maresca still needs to figure out and get these players to understand that you guys are going to cost me my job if you guys are going to continuously sit here and get sent off, get stupid yellow cards, and not be able to play in the following game. So he he isn't necessarily the greatest manager in the world, but from what I like about him is that he has a tactical system that if it's done right, is able to beat any big team in the world. But I don't believe this setup works against the smaller teams because we're gonna have more possession. We're gonna be more ball dominant, and we will create more chances. But the issue that Chelsea have is they're not clinical enough in front of goals sometimes. We have an example. Alejandro Garnacho had a wide open goal against Everton where a back pass from the left back gets passed back to Jordan Pickford. Garnacho snatches it off of him, and you're expecting the net to bulge, right? But when you don't have those killers out there on the pitch and those clinical finishers, the game could have been killed off in the first half, right? And this is where it's like I believe Enzo Maresca is asking for experience throughout the team, not just in the attacking part of the pitch, not just in midfield, not just defense, but just all over the pitch. Because you need players like that that are in their late 20s, early 30s that are going to be able to bring these young players with them and galvanize them and show them that this is how you close out games. This is how you get smaller teams to really start respecting you. And the issue that I have is that if this current Chelsea team played more on the counterattack, I truly believe that Chelsea would be at the top of the table, not be in fourth. Because I believe that we're just a better counterattacking team than we are a team in possession. Because when we're in possession, it's so slow and methodical, it's lethargic, it's not inventive, it's no imagination because you know what we're going to do. We're going to go up the line, you don't see anything, we're going to go back, recycle the ball around our center backs, recycle it again back to the right or the left hand side. And it's like, that's not a consistent way of playing. I'd rather see us play on the counter and I'd rather see us actually take it to teams when they lose a possession, like we did against PSG, like we did against an Arsenal to an extent. Like it's stuff like that where I'd rather see us play on the counter. And why this necessarily wasn't about the fans, he praised them, he thanked them, and he made sure that the door was closed. And managers usually don't protect the fans because usually managers will go after the fans before they even go after the players or the owners. But he specifically made sure that he was saying that he was not going after the fans, which is great because Enzo, we love you, bro. Like, we love you, man. Like, we know what you're doing. We know what you're going through. And all we're asking you to do, man, honestly, stop chopping and changing every 3 games. Keep a consistent starting 11 out there. Let this team get some continuity, bro. Let them express themselves. Even if we don't have possession of the ball, we have players that will work defensively. And then when you win the ball in midfield and you're able to hit on the counter, we are as devastating as any team in Europe when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net off a counter. You know, and just to break down everything like that's happened and why he said it's the worst 48 hours, right? His team selection is being debated, like I just articulated. Stop chopping and changing every 3 games, bro. Making 6, 7 changes because when I get that alert on my phone about the Chelsea lineup, it's Enzo Maresca makes 6 or 7 changes from the last game. It's like, why are we doing that? Keep continuity out there, bro. Like that's what we're asking for. You know, there's been questions about how he approaches games, and it's like I believe he's taking it seriously. Now, maybe he overthinks and he overanalyzes his opponents a little too much, kind of like how Pep Guardiola does it. But the difference is that Pep Guardiola was a serial winner before he even started overthinking. Enzo Maresca is just now getting into the top flight of football, English football, right? And he's in his first season, wins 2 trophies, gets his team in the top four when nobody had them in the top four. The pressure from the pundits outside of Cobham, the tactical criticism before the ball is even kicked, because people feel like they already know what he is going to do. But if you watch Enzo Maresca's system, it's not necessarily always the same, but the ideas of what he's trying to implement are. It just may look different on the pitch, but the ideas of what he wants to do is still being trying to be put out there. And he calls for pragmatism and And in terms of abandoning like the system, he's not going to do that based off of what he is expected to do with this club. Because if he was just a defensive manager, this team would be having a lot of nil-nils. They'd be having a lot of 1-1 games, a lot of 1-0 games. And as a viewer and as a consumer of this, it's not something I want to see. I don't want to see defensive football for 90 minutes. I want to see this team actually be adventurous, be dynamic, and take risks, right? Because the one thing that this team doesn't do enough, in my opinion, is shoot from outside the box, cross the ball in when there's players in the box. Because you cross the ball in or you shoot the ball from outside the box, it's going to either take a deflection, it's going to cause the center backs to make a decision on what they need to do. If they need to step out on the shot, step out on the cross, the goalkeeper has to make a decision to come out of the box, come off the line, whatever the case may be. And it just doesn't seem like, especially if they're down, they don't necessarily actually, no, when they're up rather, they don't take the necessary risks that, in my opinion, enough to really kill off the game, which is what Enzo Maresca, I think, is crying out for. Is like, get the first goal, go get the second goal. Don't be pragmatic, don't be defensive, don't be insecure about what you're gonna do on the pitch. Because at the end of the day, all Maresca can do is just point to where he wants these players to be, but the players have to go out there and execute what he is asking for. More often than not, are these players doing that? Yes, but when we have the games like Leeds away, like when you have games like Atalanta away, when you have games at home against Brighton and Sunderland and you're losing those games, like you have to start looking at how much do these players want to consistently win and how bad do they want to consistently perform to where they're not being chopped and changed every week? Because if Pedro Neto has a bad game, he's not about to start. And it's like he's one of the most integral players in our squad right now because of what he does, not only in the attacking third, but in the defensive third, the tracking back, the lung busting runs up and down the line, being able to link up with your João Pedros, your Cole Palmers, your Garnachos on the other side of the pitch. Like you have to be able to let these players express themselves. Um, so why this is not the same club as it was 15 to 20 years ago? I mean, it's not the same recruitment model that we had back in 2003, 2004, where you're able to just go to these players and say, "Hey, like I'm gonna spend all this money on you, and we'll bring you in, and now you will be like the star man." A lot of the recruitment that they're doing now is more of a long-term vision. Now, in 3 or 4 seasons, Chelsea sh- honestly may already have won a couple league titles in the next 3 or 4 seasons because you're going to have the same players continuously playing together over 3 or 4 seasons. So at some point, this team will win a Premier League title. May not be this season, may not even be next season, but I'm expecting a title run next season. And maybe this season, you never know. It's still too early. Um, you know, I'm running out of things to say here mostly because I just feel like they need to give him more time. And this wasn't a meltdown for Enzo Maresca. He's basically sending warning shots to the hierarchy. It's like, can you please support me instead of getting on me for a few bad results? Like you've had managers in here before me that had a bad run of results and you guys weren't killing him nearly as much. Now Graham Potter was different because it wasn't just the players that wanted him out. The fans were getting tired of Graham Potter. They didn't want to deal with him anymore. The boys did well today. Like us as fans are not trying to hear a leader of men say the boys gave everything. Have a better tactical setup. Have a backbone. You want to have a backbone once you start feeling the pressure. Enzo Maresca had a backbone the minute that he took that first press conference with us because he understood the assignment, he understood the heritage of the club, which I think is very important that Graham Potter didn't understand. Frank Lampard understands it as a player, and Pochettino didn't understand. Thomas Tuchel got it. Thomas Tuchel understood. He knew what needed to be done, but he was already an established manager. PSG, Dortmund, Mainz in Germany. Like he had a structure, a tactical setup, and he had the backing from Roman Abramovich at the time. When Todd Bowley came in, that's when you started to see the separation, the less talking, like the less communication between the hierarchy and manager. And for me, Enzo Maresca is not on the same track as Thomas Tuchel. Enzo Maresca's on the track where it's like I feel like he has this job in the palm of his hands, but the owners can snatch it away from him if he has a few bad results. And that's where it's like we're not going to go through another 20 years of somebody having a bad run of form and then the manager gets sacked. That doesn't do anything for us long term. And it's not the same Chelsea as it was 15, 20 years ago where you can chop and change a manager and then the following season or that same season they go off and challenge for the league. Like that's not how it works anymore. And the game is completely different now. It's not the same sport as it was 10 to 15 years ago. It just isn't. So what this means going forward for Chelsea, if they want stability and they want consistency, moments like this where he comes out in the press conference after a win, they need to take it seriously. They need to actually hear it and not take offense to it. And that's where I believe the managers, the manager and the owners need to have a sit down and really dissect on what's really going on here because it just seems like there's two conflicting stories and there's one truth. I believe that the owners are not fully trusting him, but but Enzo Maresca is not asking for sympathy in this, bro. He's asking for support from the people that are signing his check. It's like, can you guys get me the necessary players I need so I can actually build this club back to what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Like, that's all I'm asking for. That's all he's asking for. So, was this just frustration after a hard week, or was this really Enzo Maresca saying that managing Chelsea just isn't about tactics? It's about surviving pressure from all directions, bro. Like, from fans, ownership, players, other managers, it doesn't really matter. It's not frustration. I just feel like he's quietly letting us know that there's something brewing behind the scenes between him and ownership. And if it doesn't get resolved, unfortunately, he may get the sack at the end of the season. No matter what this team does at the end of the season, they finish top four, they win the Champions League or something, they get a domestic cup. I feel like if he wins like the Champions League, his job is safe. Or if he gets any kind of silverware this season, I believe his job is safe with top four. But if he's outside the top four and he wins a trophy, I still think they will get rid of him, which is not fair. But it's like, who do you turn to? Who do you go to at that point? That's where I'm saying, don't sack this man. Give him more time than the 18 months that he's had since he has come here. And I'm pretty sure in the next few seasons, we will see this team be back to where it's supposed to be at the top of the Premier League, continuously challenging Europe and snatching a domestic cup every once in a while. Like, that's what we're looking for. That's what I would want to see. But what do you guys want to see? Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys were informed, just heard my opinions on everything. Um, Chelsea's next game is against Cardiff away in Wales in the League Cup semifinals. Should be a very, very interesting game. We should win that game, right? But given our recent run of form, it wouldn't surprise me if this game tomorrow is a tighter contest than usual. But I will get into that preview tomorrow morning. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like, sub, bell notifications on. My name is Jason. Welcome to No Filter Sports. Next time you guys see this video, there will be a different channel name. I appreciate you guys. Peace and love. I'll talk to y'all later.